Testing, 1, 2, 3. To be continued. It seems we are good to go now. If you would like to reapproach the podium for public comments.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. First, I'd like to congratulate all of you who are new on the council and Mayor Smith. I look forward to working with you as a resident and as someone who runs a not-for-profit down here in North Kansas City for 18 years. I am here as a citizen for a change. I live at 2117 Erie Street. I have two complaints. One has been ongoing forever. 21st and Fayette is still a complete and total nightmare. I was told by the city that they're hiring someone to mow the lawn there, which has not been mowed. It's now up to my knees, and I walk by it every day with my dog, and regardless, it's our ward, and it makes our ward look terrible. The bigger complaint is at 2118 Erie Street, catty-corner from me. I called to complain about that property, which is in complete disrepair. Please drive by it if you don't believe me. There are mattresses in the back of that place. There are bikes along the side, bike parts. There are people who sit on the roof in chairs going through a door that should not even be there because it leads to the roof, and windows that are completely out. It's a nightmare. So when I called the city, they indicated that they had sent a letter to the owner occupant. I can assure you, I've been in North Kansas City for 15 years. There is no owner occupant living there. There's one mailbox, but no owner occupant. And I know as a fact from, actually this is my agency, one of the clients of my agency was receiving food from us and he lives there. He is not an owner occupant. We've seen many individuals in and out of there. I am not complaining about the individuals who live there, but we need to hold this owner occupant responsible. And I would really appreciate it if someone from the city could get back to me and explain to me how this is a single residence with several people living in and out of there for 15 years, and it's complete disrepair. Kind of tired of looking at it. So thank you.
Thank you. Question real quick. 21st and Fayette, is that a house or a?
That's a house. It's been sitting there looking like terrible for a very long time, and every time you call the city, it's in litigation with Clay County, which has been going on forever and ever, which leads me to another point. Thank you, Mayor Smith, is we have a court. So I don't understand why some of these complaints, and I'm not by no means an attorney, but I'd like someone to explain to me why when these things come up as city ordinances, they end up in Clay County, and I've been told that's because it's quicker there. Well, 21st and Fayette is certainly not quicker there. It's been over 3 years. So I don't know why we have city attorneys, city court, city ordinances, and then they sit in Clay County. Again, I'm not an attorney. And that's not the property I wanted to talk about, but I'm glad you brought that up. But I really would like somebody to answer why this owner-occupant is allowed to have this property at 2118 Erie with no responsibility.
Thank you.
They did mow the other day. I will give them that. Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Were any further? Okay. Next public comment, please.
Hi, Dave Wood, 2414 Erie Street. Just a quick question. I noticed on here, item 21, you're going to be discussing the senior property tax freeze for the Northgate Village, and I understand that's a really weird thing, but my question or my request is when you guys get to the discussion, if you could really kind of give us the Reader's Digest version of how those TIF payments work. Do they go up and down and all over the place, or are they just a little bit better explanation so we can kind of understand why this is a discussion? I get that, but just give us a little bit more detail. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. That is coming. Any further public comments?
All right, I got 5 minutes. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, and all the new people. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Aaron Wendell, and I'm the managing partner of Knockix and KC Fiber here in North Kansas City. KC Fiber, also known as Link City, is a municipal broadband network serving North Kansas City. It began as a city-run utility in 2006 under city management until 2014. At the time, the city entered into a public-private partnership with Knockix, allowing us to form KC Fiber and take over management and maintenance of the network. Over the last decade, KC Fiber has been powered by the infrastructure of Knockix's data center, which serves as the backbone of the network. That collaboration has created one of the most unique and forward-thinking municipal broadband systems anywhere in the world. KC Fiber provides residential internet service at gigabit speeds, not for a monthly fee like most providers, but for a small one-time activation cost. To our knowledge, it remains the only broadband network in the world offering this level of speed with no ongoing monthly charges. Even more remarkable, KC Fiber is also the only provider in the world offering residential service up to 100 gigabits per second. That puts North Kansas City on the map as a global leader in broadband speed and accessibility. KC Fiber's mission is not just about internet speed, it's about community service. We provide internet access not only to residents and businesses, but also to city departments, local churches, nonprofits, and the entire North Kansas City School District at no charge. We're also in the final stages of a project that will bring free public Wi-Fi to Mackin Park, further enhancing public access to connectivity and continuing our commitment to digital equity. What makes all of this possible is the state-of-the-art Knockix Data Center at 16th and Swift. It's not just a local asset, it's the most network-dense facility in North America, meaning more carriers, more direct connections, and faster content delivery. While there's plenty of national attention on massive data center developments, you rarely hear how those facilities benefit the local community. In our case, North Kansas City residents and businesses see real, tangible advantages. Because of Knockix's presence, customers enjoy lower latency, faster speeds, and better access to services. In fact, platforms like Netflix, Google, and Apple serve content directly from our facility. Excuse me. So when you stream a movie or use the cloud, it's likely coming from right here in your city. I would like to extend an invitation to any council member that is interested in touring the facility. I'd be happy to show you in depth how the guts of the operation work. In closing, I want to thank the council and the city of North Kansas City for your ongoing partnership and vision. KC Fiber and Knockix are proud to be part of this community, and we remain committed to supporting the residents, schools, and businesses that make this city exceptional. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have questions for Mr. Wendell? Yes.
The facilities you have that are actually used for the city's purposes, have they been updated recently? Are they still using the same equipment?
We kind of update them on an ongoing basis as needed. We added some air conditioning capacity to AP5, I think, which is the one behind Quick Trip. Last year, we're looking at adding some more AC capacity to number 2, which is over by by Wendy's this summer. The switches, those sorts of things get upgraded. So, for example, when we started, all the residents, the max speed they could get was a gig. Now they can go 10 gig and up to 100 gig.
I guess really also what I'm asking is there, has there been any kind of presentation, audit of the system for the city council in terms of, and the government of North Kansas City for the condition of the city-owned portion of it?
I believe that that's...
In terms of both the above and overground portions.
I believe that that's something that is in process. That would be a question for Michael, but I believe that that's in process.
And do you have any idea when that might be available and completed?
I don't know.
Mike, do you have time on that?
So that is, we have a fiber network infrastructure audit budgeted, but it's in the phase of the RFP being developed contractor. We've got a scope, but we need a contract and an RFP.
And where does that stand time-wise, roughly?
Until we get it done?
No, until it gets out. Oh, the RFP and the contract.
I would like to think by the end of the summer, but I also, that's going to take some help with, from our city councilor as well. It's a two-part process, but
Well, I am open to any help we can give to expedite this.
excellent. Thank you.
We lost the timer, so any further questions from council? Yes, sir.
When, I should know off the top of my head, but when does the current contract with Knockix go through for the resident internet services?
27?
I believe it's 2027.
Yep.
The end of 27?
Per the agreement, it was a year and a half ago. It was in 2023.
It's 25, 6, and
When
7.
we did the other 3 years, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we'll have to have a decision by basically September of 2026, what we want to do going forward.
Okay.
It takes at least a year's notice if we're to make changes.
It would be good to have that infrastructure study done well in advance of that.
Yes, thank you.
Aaron, thanks for coming out, and I do encourage anyone to take a tour of this facility. It's remarkable what's there. I don't understand any of it, but it's amazing to see all the fiber lines and the lights and what is there. And thank you for what you've done for the city, for the school, the library. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Just one more thing. I actually wrote myself a note and I forgot to include it. We requested a grant from the state of Missouri for broadband expansion within North Kansas City as part of their BEAD program. We were not able to get any local support from the city, but we were able to get local support from Clay County. And today, the state did let us know, we don't have the details yet, but the state did let us know that they have a preliminary award on this area for $200,000. So it looks like we'll be getting some money from the state of Missouri for some expansion of the network.
Very good. Thank you. We can have follow-ups afterwards.
Okay.
Thank you. For the timer, if we could keep it running. I don't know who's running the timer. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jim Dunn. I'm at 506 29th Avenue. And actually, this turned out to be great timing. I didn't anticipate the speaker right before me. I want you to imagine if I came to you tonight and said that I thought that as a resident living in a house here, that I did not believe that the folks living in the apartment buildings in our community should have the same subsidy to the YMCA. Or if I said that they shouldn't have library access. Or that they should probably have to have individual security at those facilities. Those are tremendous money-saving opportunities for us as a city if we do those things. As I say that, I'm hoping that you're offended and a little disgusted. But folks, that great internet service we just talked about, that's mostly not provided to our community members who live in apartments in North Kansas City. Did you know that? That's outrageous. Anytime we create a community in which we're saying it's them and us, any kind of them and us, that's damaging. And it doesn't have to be like that. The reality is, I know that the folks from Link City have offered to get involved with many of the builders. I just contacted the new development at 23rd and Swift. AT&T U-verse is your only option if you are there. Now, I want you to consider for a minute the $100 a month that would save people living in apartments in our community. That's real money. Folks, that's grocery money every month. And there's no reason for this. My guess is, developers don't find that a financially feasible option. Well, you know what? They don't find tempered glass financially feasible either, or sprinkler systems, or firewalls. Those are all expensive things, and you know what? We demand those. We demand them because they keep folks in our community safe, and we have a basic expectation that we do those things. I'm an educator, can't help myself. This is a book called Poverty by America. The author is a Princeton professor by the name of Matthew Desmond. If you have an opportunity to read it, it'll be back in the North Kansas City Library tonight. It's a fantastic read, but part of what Desmond talks a lot about is the ways that we export poverty, and we keep people locked into patterns of poverty, and it's unnecessary. This impacts folks. If you are on the equity committee, what better item is there for you to be talking about right now than equity of access to the things that are provided in our community? The Planning Commission. And certainly as a city, we can codify these rules and say, you know what, we're not going to let you just take the cheap way out. There are apartment complexes that have a couple of options for folks to choose from. Those can be built in. But I would suggest that we need to do something better to tell everyone in our community that they belong and that they have the same access to all of the same kinds of utilities. Wi-Fi isn't a perk anymore. It's a basic necessity. I mean, I think that's how most of us view it. On a final note, I do want to say Public Utility Week, I know you all are recognizing tonight. My wife's involved in Citizens Committee, Academy, and I've had an opportunity to even dropping stuff off for the shredding event the other day. What incredibly dedicated and passionate people we have working in this city. And it's amazing. There were people there, some of your management staff out directing traffic for the shredding event. Amazing. So we live in a great place. Let's make sure we're making it great for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Always appreciate the challenges you bring and the way you will turn a phrase and build an argument. So thank you. Did you have something, Councilmember Saper?
Just for your information, part of it is the kinds of permissions we've given to developers in the city do not require that. The Blum development currently under construction, I specifically requested that, and they are including in their project the city system. Others can be. In future developments, we must require it. I agree. For that very reasons that you so eloquently outlined. Thank you.
Councilmember Groen?
I agree completely, Tony. I think that it is imperative that we make our city equitable for the people that live here. I think it's really kind of shameful that we have set it up, that has been set up in such a way over time that we're bringing in a lot of really vibrant, great residents who don't have access to the same services that homeowners have. So, or people who are renting a house. If you live in an apartment, you don't get the excellent KC fiber service, which is truly the best in the world. Aaron, bravo. So I think going forward, we absolutely need to make sure that that is a requirement of new builds.
Councilmember Fitzgerald?
Just, I hope I'm doing this right with the new format.
Yeah,
but-
we're learning. We're
Okay,
going.
just, kind of build on that. I don't know if we've ever had any discussions or if we could potentially have discussions about putting language in the city's economic incentive policy, tying, subsidies for housing development to include access to KC fiber network.
This can certainly be something we put on a future discussion item. Any further comments from the council? All right, further public comments, please.
Good evening. My name's Greg Miller, and I wasn't too sure about the format. I plan on being here for the session on senior tax relief, but I do want to make a comment before that happens. I'm basically here to urge the city to recommend to Clay County that the senior applicants in North Kansas City that are in the TIF district be allowed to participate. For a little background, I applied to the Clay County Senior Tax Relief and visited the annex not too long ago to find out the status, and was told that my house was in a TIF project and was under review, and that the county had asked the county councilors to investigate. And which came as a surprise to me that I didn't know anything about it. But I attended before that the Clay County Commission hearings and listened to the debate about all the impact that this senior relief would have to all the taxing districts throughout the Clay County. And they concluded that all of these taxing districts would be impacted. There would be impacts. However, it was the right thing to do to follow the state-approved plan. And so here again, I was surprised to find out that North Kansas City wouldn't be a participant because of the TIF district. So I purchased my home in 2012, and I've experienced numerous jumps in my assessed value, resulting in large increases in my taxes. And this city of North Kansas City has benefited through those. Seniors on a fixed income, as you know, are greatly impacted by these increased assessments and the property taxes that result. When purchasing my home, I did take the step of contacting the city here and my city council member and an attorney, and I was told at the time it would have no effect on my taxes. Recently, I found out that the city and county might exclude the TIF residents. So I did the step, I went in and reviewed the TIF agreements and the amendments, and the projections said that they did not anticipate that the city would be fully reimbursed. And there's a lot of reasons for that. For example, the developers had problems. There were numerous problems throughout the TIF implementation. And now it seems to me that maybe we're going to be impacted by those missteps in the past. So I understand the delays and the problems. However, to me, it only seems reasonable that seniors not be penalized, especially since these amendments said that the taxpayers would not have any effect on them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Miller, can I have your address, please?
404 East 30th Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
Further public comments?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Risa Reynolds. I live at 611 East 29th Avenue. I wasn't planning on this comment, but I'm going to just go ahead and state my public support for 2027 or 2026 when you're considering the Link City partnership. Just say, please don't change it, because it's awesome. So thank you. It's nice to put a face to who is behind that, because it's a great public service. I'm here to comment on item 21 too. I tried to research and educate myself on TIFs and how it had anything to do with my property relief. I did the best I could to educate myself. I'm hoping that when you get to that item and talk about it, maybe I'll understand it better, because I didn't get very far with the true understanding of it. So I would just like to reiterate what the other folks have said regarding it. I think North Kansas City prides itself on being a good community for seniors. I technically qualify for this tax relief as of June, not something I'm really proud of, but here we are. And I do think this is an opportunity to show, how committed the city is to the senior population here. I'm not sure how many of us in Northgate Village. I'm sure it's quite a few, but it's not everyone in Northgate Village that qualifies for this tax relief. So I don't know what the dollars are that we're talking about. I'm assuming that someone knows that figure and will be considering that. So I'm just asking you to consider what you can do to help us out, because it does seem rather harsh to think that we might not get this tax relief that someone outside of Northgate Village is going to get, just because of a TIF incentive done many years ago that, other than I realize it's great to have the neighborhood, I'm happy the neighborhood exists, so I could buy my house there, so I do realize I benefit from it that way. But otherwise, it feels like it's a developer benefit and not a citizen benefit. So, thank you.
Thank you. Further public comments? Going once. Oh. Good evening.
A long time ago, when Mayor Stilo was
Can we,
here.
can we get name and address, please?
Oh, Bill Smoyer, 1444 East 23rd Avenue. Mayor Stilo had his magic company that made stuff disappear. They started up from him being the contractor for trash. They went into, a private, had contracts, but he had no contract. They had a part that you had to go out and buy bags, big paper bags, and you had to roll up all of the sticks and everything, and then set it out there. And that's quite a chore for me, even way back then. And I talked to him, and he arranged it so that you just put your leaves and your brush out the side of the house, and the trash company, whichever it was, would come by and pick it up. And they just dumped the leaves in there, and that was the end of it. But I think that when you got this new contract with GFL, you just use the same contract, and that said you had to go buy trash bags, take them home, and throw them away. So he fixed it so that we could just have the plastic barrels out there, and they'd haul it away. What I'm asking is if you would consider going back to like it was before GFL had it, or have GFL say they'll pick up the leaves in the barrels and the sticks and just take them away like it was probably for the last 10 years. So that's what I'm asking is you could just say, you don't have to put the sticks all tied up neatly. You don't have to go out and spend money to throw it away. And that's it.
Appreciate it. Anthony, do you know the current rule for GFL right now?
It's that, yeah. Like
Tie it
sticks,
up.
you have to be bundled less than 4 feet long, things like that, yeah.
Okay.
We can discuss
Discussion.
that with them, to see what the options are, but some of it's kind of fixed, but we can always ask.
Sure, we can have that conversation.
It's so much easier to just have the barrels
Right.
than to have everything like that. But
We'll ask the
the
question.
mayor back then took care of it. That's one nice thing.
Thank you.
All righty.
Good evening. Name and address, please.
Deanna Nooner, 508 East 31st Avenue. Actually, timing is really good on this, too. I hadn't even planned to talk, but I wanted to tell you that I followed the trash truck down the alley today. And I see no reason for there to be any separation of anything, because they dumped the trash barrel into the trash truck. They picked up the leaf bags and put them in the trash truck. They picked up the large items. I saw him put a twin mattress in the trash truck. So it all went in the trash truck. So I don't understand why it all has to be separated. I do think that they pick up the recycling separately, but I think it ends up in the trash. So that's my comment.
Any further questions or comments? Thank you so much. Any further public comments? Seeing none, I really, this is impressive. I want to say thank you to all of you for coming out. This is one of the most robust public comment sessions we've had, so thank you very much for all of that. Moving along, we have the consent agenda. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
You missed ceremonial
I
items.
missed ceremonial items. We have ceremonial matters.
We have the proclamation for Public Works Week, and then I think we have someone here to give us a presentation of the Leading the Way Award.
Mayor and Council, I'd like to introduce Robert Heacock with ETC Institute.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'm Robert Haycock with the ETC Institute. For those not familiar with ETC, we've done your surveys, community surveys, a number of times now. And it's my pleasure tonight to present you with the most prestigious award that ETC puts together, and I'll get into that. For those who are not familiar, ETC was created in 1982. It's now one of the largest public sector marketing companies in the country. So we do community surveys, transportation surveys, business, employees, you name it, all kinds of different organizations. Since 1999, we've really fine-tuned what we call the Direction Finder Survey. Direction Finder Survey was designed with the city council and citizens in mind so that we could get objective data that people could say this is from a statistically valid, statistically significant sample, and rely on that for their budgeting decisions, for their policy decisions, based on really engaging the public and getting that public input. Since that time in 1999, we've administered the Direction Finder Community Survey to 2.3 million people in all 50 states. If you stop and think about it, it's about 400 or 500 at a time to get to 2.3 million. We've been busy as a company. What was unique in 1999 also, though, was the concept that came out of City Managers Association in the area. ETC is based in Olathe, by the way, was the idea of having benchmarks for your data. In other words, comparative data to what other cities do. Up until that point, really in our area and possibly across the country, that didn't exist. You just got to know how your citizens responded, but there was no context relative to other communities. So we started doing that in 1999, and what we've now created for the last handful of years is what we call the Leading the Way Award. 11 cities participated in the first year, and Mr. Mayor, in a minute here, I'm going to bestow upon you the award to honor those 11 cities that committed to benchmarking. They had to agree to do surveys for a number of years for us to get that data. We're providing you with an 11-pound crystal trophy this evening. A little bit specifically about Leading the Way and about North Kansas City and how amazing you've had, the results that you've had, something really, truly to be proud of. We recognize those cities that rank in the top 10% nationally. So we're comparing it all across the country, based primarily on 3 satisfaction factors: the overall quality of city services, customer service provided by employees, and the value received for local taxes and fees. Each of those can count for up to 100 points. So a total of 300 points altogether. 210 points are required to achieve this award. North Kansas City actually had 249 points, and you only needed 210. But to put that in context, your scores were 128 points above the national average of 121 points. So you essentially more than doubled the national average. I'm telling you, it's a home run for you and your staff and the community. Just such positive things, and that's why it's my pleasure to be here. Your ratings exceeded the national average by more than 20%, in fact, in 31 different service categories. I'll repeat that. Not only bested the national average in those 31 categories, but you scored more than 20% higher in terms of overall satisfaction for those services. Just a handful of these. I'm not going to read all 31, but some that caught my eye, not necessarily all the top, because you know the ones I mentioned before, you obviously scored very well in. The maintenance of city streets, 45% above the national average. Parks and recreation, 43% above the national average. Snow removal on neighborhood streets, 42% higher than the national average. The overall quality of life in the city, something I could tell tonight you're all very proud of and committed to, just by the way you're engaging your community. The overall quality of life in the city is 37% higher than other cities. And then police services I have on here, not because it was the most, but it does really say something that your police services were 29% higher than the national average. With that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to come forward and present you with the award. And we'd like to get a couple pictures, too, of you and possibly the council as well. Michael, thank you.
Yeah, great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, and I'll say, while I am blown away, yeah. Thank you, thank you. While I'm blown away by the numbers, I'm not surprised to hear that. It is a wonderful place to live, and our staff does an amazing, amazing job. Public Works, Parks, staff, senior staff, everybody has a hand in all this. So this award belongs to all of us, and thank you for pointing all that out and putting data behind it. All right, we're going to move on now to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'd like to pull item 14.
Could we also poll hold on, let me get my numbers here. 15 and 16?
We have pulled items 14, 15, and 16. We had a motion. Do we need to retract the motion on the?
Did we have a second?
We did not have a second. I guess.
I think she can just change her motion to
Okay.
the amended agenda.
Motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed? Okay, that will take us to item 14.
Consideration of a resolution approving a budget amendment for the Public Safety Memorial, resolution number 25-030.
Oh, hi. So I pulled this because I think I was pretty thrown. I know I was thrown when I saw the construction happening, because I think when we left it off in the fall, we established that we needed to create a budget item so that we could have a place where money could go. When this originally was thought of, a bunch of businesses and laborers were going to be donating their time and resources and materials to make this happen for public service. And we were told, we need to have like the $500K in place so that we have somewhere to put the money that's going to come in from donations or write-offs or whatever it looks like. And I guess I'm a little bit confused, or I just kind of want some clarity of if we got any money that ever came in. I'm seeing a budget amendment on top of the money that we thought we weren't going to spend directly from city funds. So I guess I'm just curious.
As I'm aware, we have not received donations like we thought we had. We got the word out there, but they didn't come in. Now, the contract was awarded December, January, or I'm thinking towards the end of the year. But
December sounds right.
But correct, we did not receive the donations as we originally
Yeah, I think I thought, not even just public donations, but I thought companies had said, we're willing to all kind of step up and do this. And I think I'm really thrown off that everyone fell off from that sort of initial gung-ho beginning. I don't know if you guys experienced the same, but that's what I recall. That was my understanding, and I think it has thrown me off a bit to see that it's being, constructed and we're adding even more money to it with no assistance whatsoever.
That was my understanding at first too. If I'm remembering correctly, I think when this originally was pitched, there was discussion of multiple entities around town that had offered either financial or in-kind services, and a huge dollar amount wasn't expected. Again, I want to support this. I'm glad it's being built, but it seems like the price tag has changed over the past 2 years, so I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
McGrone?
Yeah, I agree. I remember that same discussion, and obviously we want to honor Officer Vasquez and anyone else who falls in service, but we did have big companies and people say they were going to donate money, and when this project was pitched to City Council, it was pitched as, we won't be spending city money on this project. Other people will come and give money for this project. And of course, council goes, yeah, that sounds great. Obviously, let's move forward. And now we're spending over $500,000 of city money on this, and you're asking for another $10,000. And I don't want to be the person that sits up here and makes it sound like I am bad-mouthing an officer memorial, which I am absolutely not doing. I think what I'm saying is the businesses and community members who said they were going to donate money to this project, donate money to this project, please. Because we are taking money from our city and putting a memorial in that you all said you would pay for. So please donate money. Thanks.
Alvarez.
Yeah, I remember the discussion too. I also remember, I think that unfortunately, when you're in the moment or when the incident happens, people do come forward and they have good intentions. But as time seems to go on, people kind of fall off of that, hey, I'm all in, I want to help out. The sensation, I guess, probably not the proper word to use for it, is no longer in the limelight, and people kind of fall short. Maybe they don't remember that they volunteered. I'm not sure how that came about, but I think what I thought we had said was we were going to go ahead and proceed, even though the donations were not coming in, that we were going to proceed with the memorial. If the donations came in, then it would be added to the funds that we allocated for this project, or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how it worked, but I do know that we did decide to go ahead and proceed with the project, and then if monies came in, we would not need to use as much of the city funds. But I do think it's been some time, and it seems like when things are going on in the moment, people are all, they're front and center and they mean well, but when time passes, the momentum of the incident, people forget, they move on, or they go on to something else. And so I think that's what's happened, in my opinion.
So, yeah, this is one where I remember the discussion. We talked about getting community members involved, citizens, businesses, and I think you're right. There was a lot of enthusiasm up front, and then there were some delays. And I think now that ground is broken and we're moving forward, there may be an opportunity for a second ask. To, as you mentioned, to reach back out to those who expressed interest, to say, hey, look what's actually happening. Here are the renderings that we're working on now. This is what it will look like. Would you like to be a part of this as you had originally shown your intent? So I think we could do that. I think we could reach out and see what's there, and if funds do come in, can offset this. I understand that some of this is some logistical things that we need to reroute some sprinklers. We need to add to what's being done there, and it is $10,500 amendment. I think at this point we move forward, but we do put out that second ask, and that would be my recommendation. Do you have?
I just want to add to that. I agree, because at the beginning there was a delay of us starting the memorial when people were offering donations, and so I think they just held back, waiting to see, well, what do you need? How much do you need? What's going to happen? And then because of that delay, I think they just kind of, I don't know, forgot. Maybe not forgot, but went on to something else. I think that was a lot of the problem, too.
Yes, sir.
Chief Friedman has been on top of this whole thing from the very beginning. Can you add anything to this?
I think what Councilmember Alvarez said is very accurate. We did hear of a lot of businesses that would be willing to participate in this project at the beginning, but you have to realize, again, the beginning was not July 19th of 2022. The beginning was that following January, when we actually kind of got started on the project. And then as time went on, delays internally occurred with getting documents out, contracts out, bids out. And I think you all know, I'm not educating you on how the RFP process works with the city, but when you put a bid out, you take the bid that you get. And what we were hoping for is $0 bids sometimes heavily reduced dollar bids. In reality, those didn't come in. And it's not our place, the fire chief and myself, to go out hat in hand and ask for donations. That's not what we should be doing as public servants for this city. We have been out in the community talking about it, trying to garner support for it. But again, like Councilmember Alvarez said, the emotion's gone. The emotion's gone, and it's a callous way to look at it, but that's the true hard facts of it. If we would have had a hat in hand on, August 1st of 2022, say we would like to grab as much cash as we can to help us build this memorial, I think we would have had it built no problem, right? Could have done twice the size. But again, other tragedies have happened since then, as we all saw last week. And that is, they're all important. And people do act on their emotions, and we lost momentum on the emotional side of it. I'm happy that you guys would support asking again, but I think the ask needs to come from you.
Agreed. Further questions or discussion? Do we have a motion on the resolution?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? Passes. Item 15.
Consideration of a resolution approving a budget amendment for the River Forest Park Hillside Stabilization Project. Resolution number 25-038.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
I've asked for this one. I think we have a budget amendment to add another $500,000 to the cost of this project. Included in that budget amendment is, I believe, $230,000 worth of changes required by the levee district related to some piping, and we should do what the levee district wants. I'm not going to argue with that, but I had a question on the timeline here, because my understanding was that the permitting and review process and design review was all completed in late 2024, so I was surprised to see additional costs coming out of what I would view as part of that process at this point in time. So I was trying to understand, was there a change in the timeline or a change in the design plan? Just kind of what happened here?
I could probably speak to that a little bit. So by the time the project was bid, no, the levy review was not completed. It's a very long process for the levy to review these projects. We deal with it in Public Works when different applicants apply, but some larger projects like this, they go to the Army Corps for review. So the kind of construction that's being done this close to the levee, as you've seen if you've gone out to the project, I mean, it's very big, earth-moving kind of project, and when you're doing that close to the levee, they want to look at it with a very fine-tooth comb. So, yeah, there's actually still some openness to the permit, even as we speak now. The pipe consideration that's being added in this change order here is when you're that close to the levee, the pipe cannot be backfilled with the same kind of material that's used at any other place. They have to do buoyancy calculations to make sure the pipe will not pop out of the ground. When we have a flood scenario, it could actually pop out and then damage the earth around it, which could in turn damage the levee and cause overtopping and other issues that we don't want to even think about. But so there's a lot of design considerations that go into it. So yeah, but sorry, that was a long-winded answer. But to your question, yeah, the permitting process was pretty lengthy for this environmental review and levy permit review.
Okay, I must have got mistaken there. One of the graphics, I think, showed it being done by the end of 2024, but if that's not the case, that would explain.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that graphic, but yeah.
Yeah, so I took a walk down to where they're building River Forest Park. I don't know if, has anybody, I know you've been, has anybody else been down there since they started clearing? It is drastic. And so going down there, if you remember when we cut the ribbon and put I guess not cut the ribbon, put the shovels in the ground, it was just trees on a hillside, right? And you couldn't see much, you couldn't see the backyards or the slopes or much of anything. But now that all that's gone, you can walk right back there and stand under a cliffside that is somebody's backyard. And so it's hard to say that they should have known what we were getting into. It's a lot of the trees are gone now. You can see what's there, and I would encourage anyone to go down there and take a look. But this eroding hillside is something that we need to get behind. Like, we need to get this shored up. And you mentioned doing what the levy prescribes, what the levy district prescribes, and they come with big dollars. I know that this $500,000 has some buffer built into it so that we very hopefully don't come back with any more amendments. But it's all kind of lined out there. The one question that I did have was kind of what's bundled up in that $230,000, but that would be a question for the levy district. And I think these numbers are going to, they'll move around. These are estimates that are within the budget. Mike?
And I'll add that this isn't the actual change order. This is just the budget amendment that gives us the authority to proceed with bringing back the change order and all that. But that's what, you're not approving Mega to do the 230 tonight. But this is just the estimate giving us that.
Yeah, and I just can't emphasize enough, like, go down there and look. Please do. It'll kind of change your perspective, because I've been a little grumpy about the costs going up. But once you get down there and see how things look from the ground up, it's jarring. Any further discussion or questions? Do we have a motion on the resolution?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed? Item passes. Item 16.
Consideration of a resolution, wrong one. Consideration of a task order for River Forest Park Hillside Stabilization Project design.
I don't have anything else in 15, so motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Item passes. Moving on to the regular items. Item 19,
Public hearing sewer surcharge rates.
staff report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sorry, I wasn't sure if Nick was going to join him. I saw you up there, I didn't know. I was like, wait a minute, that works. On the agenda tonight is a proposed increase to the high-strength wastewater surcharge rates. Included in the memo is kind of a brief narrative of what this is, but just kind of want to talk about what high-strength sewer is in regards to these surcharges. North Kansas City has a very large industrial base to the city. It's kind of actually a unique thing for a city our size to have such large industries in the city. And what comes with that is sewer strength that's greater than the average domestic wastewater strength. Not to get really into the weeds, but regular sewer strength is about 250 parts per million, milligrams per liter, whatever you choose there, in strength when it comes to things like biochemical oxygen demand, suspended solids, and oils and grease. Organics that are produced sometimes in our larger industries cause those numbers to go up, and then we pay rates to Kansas City because we do not treat our own wastewater in North Kansas City. We don't have a treatment plant, so we go to Kansas City, Blue River Treatment Plant in particular, and that sewage is treated there. So the rates in Kansas City, when they increase, we increase our rates, which is what this is, to match Kansas City's rates for those specific high-strength users. Happy to answer any questions. It's a very in-depth, complicated, neat thing that we do because we have such large industries, and again, this is kind of more targeted toward those surcharges for high. We had a few comments about domestic surcharge. These are for higher strength than domestic surcharge rates, not something your average residential sewer bill would see. But if there's any questions, I have to ask.
We're going to go with the public hearing and then have a discussion? Is that how we're going to do it? Okay, so I'm going to open a public hearing on this matter. Would anybody like to make a public comment?
We need a motion and a second.
Oh,
for the
okay.
public
All right, so I'm sorry. Do we have a motion to open the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the public comments are now open. Please approach the mic. Seeing none, do we need a motion to close? I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? All right, that was fun. So now item 20.
Discussion of proposed sewer surcharge rates.
Yep.
A few more items on that. So the way this works is, and again, it is kind of a more technical element to our sewer charges. Katie Berge with Kim Heck is here tonight. She's helping us go through a lot of our industrial sewer pretreatment program and look at different renovations, audits, and enhancements we can make to the program. Again, there's these three elements that have surcharges, but there's other metals and things that we test for to make sure that the waste stream coming out of North Kansas City. It doesn't have anything toxic in it. So tonight, pending approval of these rates, we would bring the ordinance back in next council meeting. Because it is part of our pretreatment program, it has to go to the Department of Natural Resources for their review to make sure we're following the elements we're supposed to, and then we'd bring it back for approval in an ordinance next council meeting.
Very good. Have we had any discussion with anyone who would be impacted by this, and what is the discussion like?
Yeah, so actually, Ingredion is one of the major users of our system. They sometimes do have, on a monthly basis, higher than normal domestic surcharges. So that is a conversation we have with them. We've had ongoing, for many reasons. Again, there would be a lot more kind of pre-treatment stuff we're going to bring forward in the future. But we have regular ongoing monthly meetings with Ingredion, and this has been brought to their attention. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Saper?
This begs the question of the city at some point doing its own treatment, not relying on Kansas City for this service, which keeps going up. Whether we could do it cost effectively or not is something we have been talking about and need to further consider.
Fitzgerald?
I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So how do I phrase this? The city makes no money off of this. We are just raising our rates to match what we pay to pass this waste on to KCMO.
Right. So Kansas City sets their rates for BOD, suspended solids, and oils and grease, and then we just match those, kind of like what we do with our regular domestic sewer uses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I guess otherwise we'd be subsidizing that, so best not to.
Any further comments or questions? Okay. Do we need a motion on this? No. Next steps.
To come back with the ordinance and the rates as presented.
Yep, that seems to be the consensus.
All right, wonderful.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to item 21.
Discussion of Clay County senior property tax freeze, Northgate Village.
The reason you're all still here. Okay, so I've had a lot of discussions over the last couple weeks with our city councilor and our former financial advisor who helped author the TIF, put it all together. So if you'll sit back and relax, I'll take you on a quick history lesson, and then we'll talk about how this is unique, and then we'll open it for council discussion. So the city, I don't know if there are graphics with this. Okay. You can scroll through them as we go. So roughly 1999, the city of North Kansas City undertook a project to redevelop an entire part of town that is now Northgate Village, a variety of apartments, and then the frontage area that's pictured here, up along Burlington, all the way up to 32nd Avenue. This was a massive redevelopment plan. It broke ground around 2000, and the city, over time, has invested, between 2001 and 2006, invested $26.5 million, and then drip by drip, over time, has gotten up as high as, I believe, $29 million. I'm trying to pull my numbers up, 29 million. And so that's cash outlay. This is not money we bonded against. This is money we spent to make this happen as a city. Now, I say we, literally nobody in this room was part of that, but this is the plan that was put in place. And so the TIF was founded to redirect tax revenue through something called pilots, payments in lieu of tax, that go to refund money into our gaming fund. That's where the money came from. That's where the money's going back into. And at various increments along the way, we do analyses of the TIF to see how it's doing. Are we getting paid back on a schedule? Are the projections lining up with us coming out whole from this program? And as of 2008, if you recall what happened, things took a little turn in the economy. A lot of building slowed. Northgate Village sat half finished. And the apartments, the City View apartments, were 2/3 of the way done, I believe, by then. And there was a big pause. And when pauses happen during TIF implementation, revenues aren't happening, and things start looking bad. So for a while there, we were pretty far underwater. Fortunately, things started to pick back up. We were able to take back a large parcel that became 23rd and Swift. that was then put out to bid, and we were able to get a very large cash influx when we sold that property, along with the finalization of Northgate Village and now Bloom NKC. We have finalized and we're finishing up the very last bits of this TIF. An odd wrinkle in the whole mix is that TIF, each individual piece of this TIF, as you can see in the numbers here, have to be activated, and they have a, is it a 10-year payback period, or is it a, give me the payback period?
23.
Okay, 23-year payback period. At a certain point, though, the TIF sunsets in 2032. And so we ended up on a number of these, I think it's, I mean, you can see them laid out here. We had to just make a blanket activation at one point so that we were going to, even if they were empty parcels, that we were going to be able to capture revenue through 2032. So I say all that to say, as of now, the latest projections that just came in prior to the senior tax freeze discussion show the TIF coming out in the black by $3.4 million. That is a lot of that, and I'll get you in just a second. A lot of that has to do with the land sale proceeds, but the money is being paid back into the gaming fund. So, did you have a question on the calculations there?
Yeah, is that just straight cash flow, or is there any discount for
No
time
discount
value money?
No time value, straight payback.
Cash in 2020 is worth a lot more than cash in 2025.
That is correct. That is correct. This was done on a straight payback, and I appreciate the question on that one. Again, none of us were in the room when all that was set up. So this is, it's looking like we're going to come out ahead on the dollar for dollar on the payback period. Then the senior tax freeze discussion happened at the county level. It was approved, and 17,000 seniors, qualified seniors applied. 65 of those live in Northgate Village, so that was the number that we were talking about. So 65 seniors that qualified for relief live within the TIF district. And so then we landed in this weird area where a TIF district isn't tax payments, it's payments in lieu of tax, and those go straight back to the city. Most TIFs, this one is extremely unique, because most TIFs are set up to benefit a private developer. They'll bond against the revenue, and then they get paid back, and it makes those bond payments. This is unique that we have a public entity, this public entity, that's getting money back out of these pilot payments. The second piece that makes it unique is most TIFs are done for commercial property. So warehousing or multifamily, to have single-family homes within a TIF district is also very odd. So we find ourselves at a unique point where we have 65 households that are impacted by a tax freeze that was levied and approved in a different jurisdiction than ours. And we have 65 people who say, this isn't fair, and what do we do about it? And given the numbers that I've gotten projections from the financial advisor, those 65 households projected across from today, or from when the freeze would start in 2026 through 2032, would be about $250,000 in potential lost revenue. Ton of variables involved, but that's about the number that we're working with. So in the grand scheme, $250,000 against $3.4 million, it's not, to my reading, a material difference, but those are the numbers. The seniors in Northgate Village are asking, should they get the same benefit that the rest of the county has been given? And it would be my recommendation to move forward with recommending to the county to honor that tax freeze. I'm open to all questions and discussion. Councilmember Groen.
As one of the representatives for Ward 2, I completely agree with Mayor Smith. I think that the money balances out in such a way that it's not going to hurt the city in any kind of meaningful way, and also it's just fair. And we are a community who values all of our residents, especially our seniors. This is a wonderful community for seniors to live in. I don't intend on living anywhere else for the rest of my life, so I completely agree. We should just go ahead and let the seniors in our Northgate Village benefit from that tax break.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
I will support this out of concerns of getting into a potential fight with the county or whatnot. It may not happen, but if it were to. But that being said, I think it is important to recognize that this TIF was set up to, the city took $29 million out of the city's gaming fund to acquire the land and buildings over there in Northgate Village, to demolish it, to put in infrastructure cost, all that to make it so it was even possible to build Northgate Village. And then this TIF pilot program repays the city for that. We have an analysis where the city comes out in the black, but I think if you discounted cash flow, the present value, $29 million 25 years ago was worth a lot more than $29 million. Now, I'm not sure we actually are being made whole with that, but it is, a relatively small amount in the grand scheme if we do come out having a $250,000 impact. A couple other points. Yeah, I think it's also, I don't like the precedent this sets where the county is coming in and changing a development agreement the city has set up, for us, especially for future development if we are to work. I'm sorry, struggling here a little bit. But future development, if we are going to work with the county and they can come in after the fact and change that agreement, I don't like that precedent.
Thank you, and I agree with that. I don't love setting a precedent. That's why we find ourselves in a very gray area. Yeah, Mike, did you have something?
Just to the credit of the county, the state put this in play, and the county actually contacted the city and said, "We'll uphold the TIF. What do you want to do?" But they've been working well with us.
That's good to
So,
know.
yeah,
Well,
just
I'll
wanted you to
rephrase
know.
it, even the state, if we are to work with the state or the county for future development projects, I don't like the precedent of them coming in and retroactively modifying the development agreement we entered into as North Kansas City.
Yeah, and to be clear, the discussion I've had with our counselor is that he has worked with the county counselor to ask for a recommendation from this body. Now, we are recommending, we could ask them to do a thing and then they could do a different thing. That will be on them, on their decision, but we're looking for a recommendation from this body. But yeah, any further discussion or questions on the matter, Saber?
As a recipient of this particular tax reduction, there are timelines that they imposed, and I know that people who have applied have been denied, and I would like to include in the motion that those who have been denied be encouraged to reapply, and the county, in fact, allow them.
Are you referencing Northgate specifically?
Yes.
My understanding is those have all been suspended or put on hold. Has anyone in the room been denied, or are they just on hold? Okay, if you've
They're
been
on
denied.
hold. Okay.
Okay, if you have been denied, reach out. We can have that discussion, but my understanding is they're on hold until this is decided. Any further questions or discussion? Alvarez?
Just one quick comment. I'm also in that senior bracket, and I'm all for any that we can offer, because, your funds are limited. So I think we deserve breaks, and we paid. I would support that.
I think, yeah, my only question was, and you look marvelous. My only question was, the cutoff. If we start to reopen it as you were suggesting, if things have already been applied for, the rules have been followed, we're not going to suddenly have a surge of everyone moving into the TIF area and going like, what? So I think if that's done, this is a thing that we can all support. I don't see anybody being against it, but I'm for it. So I would move to approve.
Second.
What?
Yeah.
I need
Can I just, is the motion going to be to recommend to the county to honor the tax freeze?
Yep.
Correct.
Do we need to say those words? Okay. Then we have a, who seconded the motion?
Second.
Okay. We have a lot of seconds. Okay. We good now? Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Item passes. Item 22.
Discussion of Crummett Beautification Fund Committee.
Yeah, I can take this one. So I spoke with Kim about the Crummett Beautification Fund Committee. It is currently, I believe it has 5 members at its current state, and it has not met since October when it was founded. Actually, this current iteration has never met, but it was reappointed in October. And we sat down with Mike and we discussed how can we make this a functional committee again, so that they're actually getting things done. We're getting art out into the community. We're doing what the committee was tasked with, beautifying North Kansas City. And so we worked through some ideas, and this is the if everybody has their memo, the recommendation would be to change the composition of the committee. Effectively, we're removing the 2 staff positions, which would be the Public Works Department and the Community Development Director. They will be sorry guys. They would be available to consult with the committee as needed, but adding them in as members that would have to meet every time the committee tries to get together makes it a little easier for the committee to conduct business. And so the prior composition was the mayor, a council member selected by the mayor, a representative from the arts community, from the business community, the city administrator or designee, and then the public works and community development directors. The new proposed committee would be mayor or designee, and the reason I asked for designee is I personally add nothing to a discussion about art, so I would prefer to designate somebody who does, and any future mayor would have that same, they could serve or they could designate someone. The deputy city administrator, so that would be Kim Nakhodo. She has a background in art, public art, and absolutely lives for this stuff. A council member selected by the mayor, which represents, similar to the last, a resident of North Kansas City and a representative of the business community. Both of those would be selected by the mayor. And the representative of the business community would likely be tied to either the gist of the next project or where it might be located. So any thoughts, questions, or discussions? McGrone.
So just a couple. First, the previous community or composition included a representative from the arts community, but now we're saying just a resident of North Kansas City. I'd like to ask that we emphasize somebody who is affiliated with the arts community to be on that representative from North Kansas City. Second, just to future-proof this a little bit, maybe a little more, you mayor or designee, great, but deputy city administrator, the next one may not have a background in art and may not be interested in participating. So just leave that one a little bit more flexible. But otherwise, I think it's a very good idea.
Do we have suggestions on how to change that second one? Because that's a very fair idea.
Just
Or
go back to
designee.
city administrator or designee. In this case, I would designate Kim, but exactly in the future.
Okay, so city administrator or designee. We can take out his, future-proof it. Yep. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? Okay, this is a discussion item. Do we need motion or? Okay, so given the amended piece, do we have a motion?
Move to approve the amended composition of the committee for the Crummett Foundation.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed? Okay, item passes. Item 23.
Consideration of an ordinance approving accounts due and payable by the city through May 2nd, 2025. Bill number 7918, ordinance number 9715.
First reading.
Second.
Call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through May 2nd, 2025.
I move that bill number 7918 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9715.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Salinas?
Yes.
Councilmember Click?
Yes.
Councilmember Saper?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgerald?
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through May 2nd, 2025.
Item 24, staff comments.
All right. I have a comment or just kind of a update or question, really, and then Kim will have a comment for you. But Councilmember Bailey brought up a new question to us, and thus we found a new solution. I wanted to let all of you know about it, that regarding phone numbers for council. I know some of you use your personal or some use Google phone. We did find out that it's possible to have a number on our system, our current phone system, that would then be forwarded to you. The trick would be when returning the call, it would come from the phone you're calling from. But it is an option, so we want to let you all know about it as far as what to put on there. So I'm just going to say, if that's something you'd like to explore or switch to, let me know, and we'll take care of it.
Any further staff comments?
Happy Local Government Week, everybody. Just a quick notion that we are running a series of video.
I can't say it like that.
Yeah.
Sorry. I get very excited about Local Government Week. Just a quick note that the communications team has put together a series of videos. Each department is highlighted every day this week, and we are posting that out under our social media channels, and then they'll be loaded to the YouTube video for enjoyment later. But just that way people understand what all the different ways that our dedicated staff and departments serve the community.
Will there be a group photo for that? And do you know when? I know there's typically one in front of the North Kansas City sign.
Oh my goodness, so, yes, that is City Hall Selfie Day. It is in August, and we will let everybody know when City Hall Selfie, it is another celebration of local government and the important role that it plays in everyday's life.
Perfect. Any further staff comments? Chiefs? Lot to say? No? All right, let's move to council member comments, and beginning with Councilmember Alvarez.
Yeah, I'd like to start off first and foremost saying thank you for the Girl Scout troops, 7354. Is that right? Okay, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. There were also, I want to just comment, it was nice to see so many people coming out this evening. I don't know if it's mostly over the tax freeze or what, but it was really nice to see several different comments, and whether, you know, it was things that need to be addressed or just a personal opinion or whatever. And there's so many, I'm not going to go down and refer to each one, but I do appreciate everyone coming out tonight and making the comments that they did. I do have one more comment on the memorial for police and fire, EMT personnel. Unfortunately, I wish we didn't even have to have one, but the fact that this happens, I'm very proud that we are finally getting this put up. It has been delayed for quite some time, and I'm just glad that we're finally going through with this. If people that at the time it occurred had volunteered money, maybe they will start seeing the memorial built, and it'll bring back, you know, their memory of when they had volunteered to donate or not. But either way, I think it's very, very important that this gets built, and it just shows honor to the people that put their lives on the line every day. So I appreciate that, and I think that's it. Thanks.
I realize Kelsey already left, but thank you for your leadership tonight, Kelsey of Troop 7354. Thank you for everyone that came out to speak. Hopefully we get things taken care of as far as the unmowed lawns and specific property issues, mattresses on the roof. Sounds like a party. Let's see, I gotta skip that one. I agree. I think, I don't know where we left off with this, but I think we all sort of collectively thought we need to have a city level discussion around the ordinances when it comes to business development, new businesses, maybe being required to add fiber that's available so that it's not, the burden isn't left to the residents to just sort of fight and figure it out. So just reconsidering that in our building ordinance development. And then it sounds like Greg Miller should be happy. He came to speak about that, and I think we've all voted pretty well on the tax relief, so check that box. And then Risa, loved your comment too. I love when anybody comes up to just say, yeah, I'm for it. Bill and Dana, combined, I think we've already got that solved. I feel like Bill said, I wish they would do it this way again, waving the magic wand, Mayor Stilo. Interesting. But Dana said, no, actually, they're piling it all in the truck. So I feel like the discussion would be pretty easy, potentially, when you talk to GFL. Say, it sounds like you're doing this already. Can we work through it that way? I absolutely support the memorial. I just feel this like disappointment, a deep disappointment, not in the staff of the police department. It is not your job. I think just with the businesses of North Kansas City, developers, laborers, designers, I think all of this could have been achieved, at least part of the way with, honoring your public servants and saying, we're going to actually contribute these materials and contribute these sorts of things to the overall project. And I still want that to be open. And then I started to think, maybe this could have been built around like the Crummett Foundation because it is a piece of artwork. And so I just still want to open those avenues. And I was very curious if there's anyone from city staff that was going to maybe take the lead on trying to get something like that established or underway. I'm thinking like if we look into sponsoring it and putting a company name and they pay, to have the fountain run each year or something like that. I don't know if we can try to get creative. I see you guys like doing some sign language back and forth. I don't know if it's to this, but okay, good. Anyway, that's all I have to say, and yeah, thanks.
Yvonne?
Hi. Yeah, I also want to say a lot of things that they said. Thank you to Kelsey. Rita, of course, that's something that we're all want to get to the bottom of. Of course, there's questions like who's in charge and is there an office that we could visit. Also, thanks to all the residents that came out about this senior tax freeze. And then, of course, Erin, thank you for everything you do to keep that running for us. I know we all appreciate that. Jim Dunn, again, we heard you. We agree with you. So maybe that's something that we can all work together on as well. And what else? I think that's it. That's it for me, I think.
Councilmember Click?
Hi, sorry I had to miss my first meeting, so I'm glad to be here for the first time, get the swing of things. I'm excited and thankful that people were willing to come out. I was specifically excited to hear about the survey results, the ETC results. I'm kind of interested to see more details on that. That's something to be really proud of for the people who've been here obviously longer than me and played a part in that. That's amazing. And I'm excited to keep it going. Thanks.
Councilmember Saper?
I was pleased as punch to see all the people come out and address the council. We should be held accountable, and one way to do it is to talk to your individual council members or city staff. But when you come out and speak before the council, it has an impact far beyond the other avenues you might take. And I encourage you to do that. Keep us in your minds, keep us accountable. Thank you.
Councilmember Bailey? Councilmember McGrone?
Poor Councilmember Bailey does not have a voice tonight, which is unfortunate because he always has good comments. I will just echo everything that everyone else has said. I won't go through the litany, but thank you to everyone who came out. Thank you to everyone who is contributing their talents and efforts to the city, whether you're a community member or a business owner or somebody who works in the city or a public servant or a city staff member or a first responder or all of the things that make our town run. We're all doing a bang-up job at it. So yay, go us. Yeah. Oh, also, it's the best time of year to go outside unless you have terrible allergies. But even if you do, try to get out. And it's so lovely. The trees and the flowers and everything this time of year are so pretty. And there's so many nice yards and so many people put a lot of effort into making their yards beautiful. And I love walking around here this time of year.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Speaking of yards, a new Ward 3 Yard of the Month has been selected for May, so congrats to those folks. And I'll just echo what everyone else said. Thank you everyone that came out and spoke tonight. The more public comments and feedback and input that I have, probably everybody has going into decisions, the easier it is to know what people want.
Very good. And now to me, a couple things. Again, I just want to continue to say thank you for coming out and making public comments. This level of engagement is amazing, and I really appreciate that. This group, we're here to listen, we're here to respond, and what I've enjoyed is a little bit of that back and forth so that there's some real-time discussion happening and people know that it's not just bouncing off our head and then we forget by the end of the meeting. Boards and commissions. So I put out a call for boards and commissions. I'm going to do it from the dais as well. I'm looking to fill quite a few board and commission seats by the next meeting, so please get your applications in. When I went through the rosters of the various boards and commissions, roughly 35% of the seats were either vacant or are soon to be, the terms are soon to expire. So we're going to have a lot of opportunity to get involved. Please submit an application. You can do that at nkc.org, and then search for boards and commissions. If you can't find it, reach out to Kim. She'll point you in the right direction. I believe that is all from me. Let's go to item 27.
Find it. Consideration of a request to hold in recess into an executive session to be held on this date pursuant to Missouri Revised Statutes, Section 610-021, 1, potential litigation and litigation matters, 2, real estate matters, and 9, negotiations with employee groups.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Salinas?
Yes.
Councilmember Click?
Yes.
Councilmember Saper?
While I have no objection to any of these particular items, I do think that the optics are not good in the fact that we need to unbundle these bundled items so that we can consider them independently. For that reason, I am voting no.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgerald?
Yes.
At this time, the live feed will shut off and there will be no more business taking place for the city.